go. Welcome to Sweden in Review, Chapter 3, I guess, which is a combined document of the results between March and April, which I missed because I was busy doing other things and honestly extremely stressed. But either way, here we are. Before I say anything else, I bet you recognize the background. This is just the same recycled PowerPoint, just with different data. Anyway, let's continue. As always, I want to specify for all the people that didn't see the previous Sweden's in Review that what is this Sweden in Review thing? Well, it's a monthly recap of the Swedish ultimate scene, highlighting fun numbers and statistics. What are the goals of this? To be more aware of what is going on in the country in a more fun way. To catalog just how active Sweden is within the game, because I have to admit, up until a year ago, I thought it would be like 80 active players, which is not actually the case. Collect data for regional PR purposes. People can use the data they log themselves in order to create their own regional PRs. A huge shout out to all the TOs helping me with this project. And collect data for Swedish PR purposes. This is the goals of this sheet. You're gonna see it later, and now I'm going to present the data I have collected along with the other TOs, who are these? These are the regions collaborating and the TOs. We have Örebro with Smuby, Sloborov, Kobe, and Johnny G as their TOs, Skåne with the Psych and Pfeiffer, Gotland with Ligrefet, Trollhättan with Logisticos and Stig, Halmstad with GCK Phoenix, Denmark, Ava Metalhead Saftard, Linköping with Karlberg, Kräftskjusmannen, Butterfly, Jason Ramsey, Stockholm with J-Rosh Mixtape, Pipwolf, Grimdev, Sunny X Magas, Skara with Velci Trasiga Score, Jönköping, Datokin Serendipity, Luleå with Gogong, Peanuts and Dribbles, Göteborg with Gröpe and Time Balloon, PTO with Crowfax, Gogong, Vulcan, Västerås with Ains and Leaf, Skellefteå with Robwin, Crowfax, Gogong and Cillian, who is helping me collect the data even though he's not a TO, and I would like to emphasize the introduction of two new scenes who have now taken part of the local scenes around Sweden, those being Umeå, with the representative and the TO being Copster, who's helping me fill out the sheet, and Uppsala being Uber, who has had a Kappa Bar event there as his new tournament. So, two more new scenes, and on we go. Let's start. How many tournaments? In March, there were 16 tournaments, which are actually -2 from February. This is also the lowest amount of tournaments I've had so far in a month. In April, there were 21 tournaments, which is also the highest, before the highest being January, including Smashboard. However, this is kind of misleading, because April started on a Saturday and it ended on a Sunday, so March 16 tournaments and April 21 tournaments, a bit sus. Honestly, it's probably an average of the two, so about 18 or so tournaments per month. It was a bit... the dates coincided a bit oddly. We had an introduction of two new scenes in Umeå and Uppsala, and March had no scene with more than 2 tournaments, and there were 5 regions with 2 tournaments and 6 regions with 1. April had 1 region with 3 in Skara, 6 regions with 2 tournaments, and 6 with 1 tournaments, including the 2 new regions in Umeå and Uppsala. I would like to specify before you say anything about April, that's my birthday month. Don't diss it. So, and then our results 1. So what you're gonna see in the layout is that you're gonna have the scene on the left, and then you're gonna have the average of the players for March and April next to each other in order. So in March, Linköping had an average player count of 10, attendees of 10, and in April it was 11. The first tournament won by me, Karlberg second, and T2 getting third, with an upset factor of 4, beating Salterfall and Kräftskjusmannen. Followed by Clubberry, which had an upset factor of 1, winning against Brain Fog and upsetting him, and then Edderking G. The third tournament having Clubberry, Jetson, and Floppy gets first, second, and third in that order, and the fourth tournament being Tinderpoiken with an upset factor of 1 over Clubberry, and Kräftskjusmannen as third. We also have Göteborg with an average of 11.5 in March and an average of 9 in April, so going down a slight amount. We have TB getting first, Telt second, and TG third with an upset factor of 3. We have Time Balloon, Marwin, and Crown with an upset factor of 1 over Telt for the second tournament. We have Time Balloon, Crown, and Telt for the third tournament, and the tournament went exactly as seeded. All of it did. And then as the fourth tournament, we have Time Balloon with an upset factor of 1 winning over KP, and I Refuse as third. In terms of scenes so far, I think you've understood pretty much the dynamic between Linköping and Göteborg, with Cloudberry and myself, I suppose, being some of the top players in Linköping, Tinderpojken upsetting him once, and in Gothenburg there is no doubt that Time Balloon is dominating for now. Let's move on to the second scenes, with Stockholm in March having an average player count of 29, and in April having an average player count of 24.5. The first tournament won by Schmixtape, Rage getting second, and Bali getting third with an upset factor of 2, winning against Schmixtape and Mint. The second tournament was won by Schmixtape, with Rage getting second and King getting third with an upset factor of 2 against both Mint and J-Rose. The third one was won by me with an upset factor of 2, winning against both Rage and Schmixtape. And then the fourth tournament was won by Rage, with Mint getting second and Schmixtape getting third with an upset factor of -2. We move on to Gotland, which had... Oh no. Don't do this to me, dude. What is this? Okay, we're good. So we have Gotland with 12.5 average and 7 for April. The first tournament won by J-Bob, then Kafemo getting second and Jolt getting third, winning over Oliastic. The second tournament won by Kafemug, then Jolt getting second and Tiramisu getting third with an upset factor of 2. And then we have the third tournament, won by J-Bob, J-Rose getting second, upsetting Kafemug, who got third. And the fourth tournament being J-Bob, Kafemug and Jolt winning over Oliastic, which by the way is a very interesting matchup over there in Gotland, because even though J-Bob and Kafemug are they're the two at the top there, Jolt and Oliastic are 5 and 4 for Jolt, which means that they've had a lot of back and forths. And Stockholm, of course, being dominated mostly by Schmixtape, so that's kind of how it goes. And then we move on. So we have Skara with an average of 10 in March and 9 in April. The first tournament being won by Max, Black Coat getting second, Retro Kid getting third, Max getting first, Steph getting second, and Black Coat getting third. Max, Black Coat with an upset factor of 2 winning against 30 Deeds and Clown. And Clown, I believe, this is actually wrong, I forgot to get the second one, which I think is 30 Deeds. And then we had Retro Kid with an upset factor of 2, winning against Black Coat and Def. The scene is pretty much defined by Max getting first, and then we have a bunch of people who can upset each other. So that's pretty neat. We move on to Malmö with an average of 22.5 in March and 14.5 in April. The first tournament being won by Big Chungus, Rexpect getting second with an upset factor of 5, beating Kaim, Plump, and Bambi twice and Truls, and Kaim getting upset factor of 3 over Plump, getting third. Big Chungus 5 for Rexpect with an upset factor of 3, winning against Truls and Showtime. That's the second tournament. Very good. Upset factor of 3. Very impressive. After an upset factor of 5, so he's popping off. And then we have Big Chungus Showtime with an upset factor of 2 over Pfeiffer and Leoven, and Pfeiffer as third for the third tournament. And finally, we have Big Chungus, Pfeiffer, and Showtime in that order for the fourth. For Skara, Max is winning pretty much everything with a hotly debated number 2 and 3 seat. And then Malmö has Big Chungus seeing first place all over the place. Rexpect getting a lot of upsets. And Pfeiffer and Showtime swapping places, it seems. We move on to Örebro, which had an average player attendee number of 9 in March and 16. Rexpex is a player from Skåne who plays Yoshi now, I believe, and he's been popping off. So, we move on. The first tournament displayed has Nico 92 being first, Ichi getting second, and Sloborob getting third with an upset factor of 2 over Demistas and Grodanbol. The second tournament being a Nico 92 win again with Grodanbol second with an upset factor of 2 over Ichi and Sloborob third. And then we have Halmstad with an average of 7 and 5 for March and April respectively, with PH2 getting first with an upset factor of 1, Oliver Diz and Amon. Oliver Diz, Avon, and Zaptard for the second tournament. Orebro seems dominant with Nico 92. And Halstad is trading places, but Oliver Diz and Avon consistently being at the top seemingly. So, let's keep going. We move on to the big one. Jönköping, with a player attendee count of 44 in March and 39 in April. The first one being won by KP, Thambaloo with an upper factor of 1 over Pfeiffer, and Pfeiffer for third with an upset factor of 1. I would like to also make an honorable mention of Bambi, who got fourth with an upset factor of 3 over both Schmickstep and Max. For the second one, we saw Pfeiffer take it over Schmickstep with an upset factor of 1, and Mint getting third with an upset factor of 1 over Mint. That is completely incorrect, and I'm gonna check that later. I'm gonna write this down. Give me just 1 second. That is very wrong. Mint over Mint is very poggers. Jönköping, 3rd March. Over Max, I'm guessing? It's probably over Max. I'll check it later. Actually, I can check it now. What am I doing? Give me just a second. Let me just take it over here. You don't have to see it. I can do it. So that I can just fix this in the moment. We go to Jönköping. We go to results. We go to April. Pfeiffer, BG Tau, Mint, and Crown. So absolute factor of 1 over Crown. Yeah, so Crown is 4th. So, we move on. And then we have Västerås with 17.5 average over either March or April. I don't remember which month they've had it. But Schmickstep got first, Bali second, Vogtruffel third with an upset factor of 2 over Nico 92. And Vogtruffel, Astra, and Loki. Astra with an upset factor of 1 over Loki. That is the order. So, on we go. We move on to Trollhättan, which had one event with 27 attendees. The winners being Max first, Tad second, and Dato King third with an upset factor of 2 over both Källafors and Stig. And then we had Luleå with 7 attendees, with Zark seeing first with an upset factor of 2 over Gogong and 9N. Max showing a dominance force around his own region, around about there. And we keep it moving. We have Skellefteå with 7 attendees, in Schlaka, Havegrin, and Zark, results being in that order. And then we have Uppsala with 16 attendees, with Schmickstep victorious with an upset factor of 2 and X-Magas. I do not remember the exact reason why this is, but I believe the reason why... so Västerås and Uppsala were on the same day, I'm pretty sure, and one of the two had people getting themselves in losers, and I believe that was the Uppsala tournament, because they were 1 hour late, and I think those were Toby, Schmickstep... I actually don't know if anyone else. Toby and Schmickstep. And Bali, there you go. So those 3 people were people who went to Uppsala and got DQ'd into losers round 1 because they were 1 hour late. Unlucky. Alright, let's keep it going. Then we have Umeå, of course, with the last one being a 12 attendee count, with Zerian seeing first place with an upset factor of 2, Stone getting second, and Slurg Larn getting third. Alright, general tournament trivia. The first tournament of March was held in Göteborg, the 4th of March. And the busiest weekend was also the second week with 6 tournaments in one weekend. The highest number of attendees was Jönköping with 44. The tournament with the highest attendees in one sitting were Jönköping with 44, Stockholm 32, and Malmö/Trollhättan both with 27. Of the scenes who had more than one tournament, Stockholm had the highest player count, attendee count, of 29, Malmö the second with 22.5, and then Gotland the third with 12.5. The highest cumulative attendees goes to Stockholm with 58, Malmö to 45, and Jönköping with 44. The average attendees actually went up to from 14.83 in February to 17.5. And then moving over to April, The first tournament of April had Luleå being the first tournament, taking place the 1st of April, so that's hard to beat. The busiest weekend was the last week of April, with 6 tournaments in that weekend. The highest number of attendees, so the tournament with the highest number of attendees, were Jönköping, Stockholm, and Västerås in that order, with 39, 27, and 20 attendees, respectively. Of the tournaments that had more than one tournament, the average turned out to be Stockholm being the highest with 24.5, Västerås being the second with 17.5, and Malmö with 14.5. The highest cumulative attendees took place in Stockholm with 49, Jönköping in 39th, and Västerås with 35. And the average attendees actually went down from 17.5 to 13.7 in March. And there's multiple reasons as to why this could be. My interpretation is that we have 2 new scenes, and there were a lot of tournaments, a lot more than usual, as you saw before. And I guess the average just went down because of that. No other specific reason. I think it was just an issue with the month, so I wouldn't count on this being completely accurate and representing. So let's keep it going. Person with the most tournaments. Alright, so this section will be loved by many, loved by the rest. So, who do you think has the most tournaments total and the most tournaments in only April? Not wins, just attended. Attended. And keep in mind, it's only April, not March. So I'll give you 10 seconds to tell me who has the most tournaments total first. Toby Schmicks, Bali, Toby, Johnny G, or me. Toby as always. And who had the most April tournaments in only April? Who had the most tournaments in only April? Who do you think that is? It seems to be like Toby's the common consensus among the most tournaments played. Pip. I am not a grinder anymore, not to this extent. I'm up there, but every tournament I went to, Toby and Schmicks also went to. Alright, so disclaimer, I double checked the code. This should give me the correct results, but here they are. Toby Wankanobi is at 15 tournaments in attendance, with Schmickstape and Calberry at 14. This is for every tournament until the end of April. 15 tournaments is insane, because they're 17 weeks into this year, and this means that they only missed 2 weekends worth of events. That's pretty insane. Schmickstape and Calberry being 3 less than 1 a week. So, that's the way they are. Schmickstape, Toby, Johnny G, Kirre, Schmooby, Pfeiffer, Jeros, Calberry, Mintfock, Truffle, Blackwell Crown, Dumlo, Greb Goo, Clown Crown at 3 in April. Those people are 3 in April. And now we move on. Why does that say February? That is not February. So tell me what the most out-of-region events total and most out-of-region events in April, not February, April, are. Who do you think went outside of their own region the most? Both in total and in February. I think the total one is pretty obvious, but February might not be as much. Any suggestions? Schmicks and Toby. It's Toby. Alright, listen, the most out-of-region events is pretty obvious. If Toby went to 15 events, it's rather easy to think it's Toby, and you probably aren't wrong. But I don't remember what I wrote, so I can't promise. What about April though? What about in April? Any suggestions? Any suggestions for April? Could it be Toby again? Maybe. It could be. It could be like Cloudberry. Could be. I'll just show it. Toby Wankanobi has a total of 9 out-of-region events. So, a bunch. So that's the total. That's total. 9 out-of-region events. That also means that he went to 6 Stockholm tournaments. And then, for April, Johnny G, Kirish, Mubi, Jeros, Def have 2 out-of-region events in April. Those are the most amount of out-of-region events. So, Let's keep it going. So how alive is this country? How many unique players attended at least one event do you think from the beginning of the year? And as perspective, 248 attendees was in February. Total means forever, yes, correct. So how many unique players attended at least one event, do you think? 350. 260-ish, 312. 278, oddly specific. 840. 212. Okay, one of you is very close. One of you is very close. But I'm not gonna say which one. Alright, I'm gonna reveal it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 330, Bali was 20 off. And actually the psych was closer, with 18 off. Psych was very close. It was closer than you, sorry. Psych wins. So there have been 330 unique attendees that attended at least one, and I'd like to specify one PR event for their respective region. And the reason why I specify this is because there has been many events, or at least a few events, that haven't been written into this sheet because they were not considered PR worthy for their own region, in which case they are not relevant for the sheet's purpose. The ones I can think of right off the bat, there was one Scala tournament, and there was one Linköping Kappa Bar tournament, which did not count towards their PR. So therefore, those two are out. 330 for all the way from January to the end of April. There was one event, there's a side event, and then there's one more tomorrow. That's kind of cool. They're not PR counted, yeah? So this is how the sheet works. Any questions? Yes, Matthias? What's up? I'm awaiting your question very patiently and diligently. Why count it like that? Why not count it like that? $330 for everything so far this year is correct. It will always be a bigger number than the last time. That is correct. It is very hard for me to keep track of the amount of attendees unique for every month, but it will always be a bigger number than last time. But the interesting part is how much bigger it gets for every time. I mean, dude, I didn't even think we had over 100 players at the beginning. I actually estimated it would be around 80 or so. So 330 having attended at least one event. I do not have a graph. I should probably think about that though. Unironically, I could probably do it. But then again, it's gonna be a curve going up. I can show the gradient. The gradient is interesting. Plot a trend line? I could probably plot a trend line at some point. It's gonna be a gradient that probably goes into like a, what's it called? Terms. It's never gonna touch the end. It's gonna curve like this, like an exponential curve. It's gonna probably look like that. And then it's gonna peak at somewhere around 400 mark. That's kind of my guess. So that's what I'm expecting the graph to be. All right, so moving on. Okay, most played characters. This one changes, well, mostly changes every single month. The reason being more people get logged, and as more people get logged, the sheet gets bigger with the characters, and therefore we move from there. So I would like to remind you that the character section of the sheet is still a work in progress. That's kind of how it works, as the more people enter, the more it is filled. So who do you think is the most mained character? Just mained. Ken? Ken is bad. Not Ken. Counter Falcon ages. Is it still fucking Mario? Mario was in January, bro. That's been a while. Falcon. So the ages for Mario, there are no real Mario players. This is a fucking myth. I've never seen one. Alright, so the most main character is still ages with 12. However, honorable mentions to Terry at 9 and Mario, Falcon, Cloud at 8. These are the most main characters. Ages at 12, Terry at 9, Mario, Falcon, Cloud at 8. How much is Ken at? I can check later. That's 9 too many. But all I can tell you is that this age statistic is actually insane. I have never seen something being this this dominant. Anyway, let's move on. Who do you think is the most secondary character? How many it is? We check soon. Shao walks so the other A could run. True. Also Aegis. Terry, not biased at all. Kazuya. The secondary is also Aegis or Wolf. I mean, honestly, dude, Aegis. Aegis has 8 secondaries, which means that the people playing this character are 20 with 12 mains. However, Lucina is the second most secondary character that is secondaried by 5 people. With 7 players total between secondaries and mains. However, Cloud is also the second most played between mains and secondaries at 12. Kind of interesting there. You're not helping the statistic, Bali. You're bringing it up. You should stop. Alright. Off we go to one more. Alright. Least played characters. So this is the combination of the top 4 characters people play, the characters that only have a 1 on them. This is tournament only. If you didn't go, you're not included. Oh, I showed it. I hope I didn't see it. Who do you think these are? Please tell me you didn't see it. That's fine. I see a Rob. I see a Duck Hunt. I see a Pac-Man. I see Ices. Okay, but Ices is fine. Clip. No. Don't clip it. It's coming out now. Isabel. Okay, listen, I'll just show it. Ices, Lucario, Villager, Me Sword Fighter, Duck Hunt, and Richter are the characters with only 1 representative each. The people in bold, as per usual, also main those characters. So Villager and Me Sword Fighter are not played as mains, whilst Ices, Lucario, Duck Hunt, and Richter are. Their representatives are Smasher89, who resides in Skara playing Ices, Floppy from Linköping playing Lucario, Nashi playing Duck Hunt, also from Skara. Skara is the land of the gimmick, and PH2 from Halmstad playing Richter. These are the players. Skara is cursed? Yes, I can see that. Is Richter and Simon separated here? They are not. They are not separated. There's only 1 representative. If they were separated, Crom, you'll see it in a second. The one in Max Mood there, it's free. So characters that aren't played at all. We have Dr. Mario. What else do we think we have? What else do we think they have that are not played at all? Who else do you think is not played at all? Come on, Plant. Come on, you've seen the previous editions. Incineroar? Hold up, I need to update the sheet. It's too late now. Pichu, Mewtwo, we have a Dr. Mario player in Umeo. No! No! Alright, for next one, it will be gone. This will not be a statistic anymore. Stats are ruined. I mean, the data. It was in it. It's fine. It wasn't in May. It was in May. It was in May. Copium. I don't even know if it was in May. It's fine. Well, a Dr. Mario player that we have no Dr. Mario so far. We have no Pichus. None. We have no Chrom. However, Roy is played and they're different enough. We have like 10 Roys, I think, and 0 Chroms. So that's kind of sad. And then we have no Mega Man. These are the 4 characters that are not played at all. 0, not as a first, not as a main, not as a secondary, not as a third, not as a fourth. These are not played at all. 0. There used to be Pac-Man that wasn't played, but now there's 2. Umeru in the stars. No! No, don't do it! Usually now there's 2. I'm not sure who they are, but I will check soon. Alright, so, with this said, this terminates this part of the presentation, but I would like to also propose some changes coming to the next part. So it was requested to me privately by, I hope I can say it, but I won't just for the sake of privacy, whether we want a best clip of the month section. Whether we want a best clip of the month for the next edition. That is something that was requested. And I think what I'm gonna do is just run a poll. Straw poll. I am not going to disclaim who it is. Type your question here. should we have best clip of the month submitted by the person doing the clip? Of course. Voting choice, yes or no. All right. Create poll. And then I can click share and copy this. Yep, I sent it. I am not going to say anything about the result. My dare side V of mint clears and even made Yeet smash Lamau, dude. Play it, Pip? Well, it would seem as though the consensus is a resounding yes. So, with it being a yes, I think we can move on and say that that is going to be coming next month. The way I'm probably going to be doing is that a week before the tournament, a week or a few days before it ends, I'm going to ask for a Google form, and then I will either vote or chat will vote. Probably chat will vote on the best clip. And maybe I can even throw out some money incentive for that. Not a lot, like 100 crowns or something, but I think it'd be neat. So I think I might even throw out some 100 crowns to people who got the best clip. Voted on by chat, of course. Voted on by chat. However, I would like to specify that because of how it works, I would prefer it for it to be during a tournament set. However, I also realize that streaming people is not entirely easy sometimes. So therefore, I have decided to also make it non-tournament. If your clip is non-tournament, and therefore online or against other people, I would prefer it if it were you, so that it's not by someone else. Should only be tournaments. See, I agree with you, Psych, it should only be tournaments, but this statistics is meant to be something that everyone can take part in. You're right, it should only be tournament. It would be too hard to regulate. Alright, fine. Only tournament clips. Only tournament clips. I agree. Only tournament clips. That's how we're gonna do it. For the next one, message spamming games on stream all the time. You're right. Only tournament clips. You're right. That's what we're doing. Only tournament. Run 8 streams per tournament. That's a bit rough. Next time I will also make best upset of the month, both seeding and player to player. I didn't have time to look it up this month. I am going to be... I was extremely stressed this past month, so I have not done anything. I have my suspicions, however. I think Rexplex popped the hell off. I think Bambi beating Schmixtape was pretty big. My upset won this month. I am not sure what your upset was. I'm sorry, Johnny. I would have to look it up. But I think those two are the ones that come to mind. I can check some later. I can check later, Johnny. Don't worry about it. I check. And then I will also do something a bit different. So far, I've done statistics for all the people who have participated in at least one tournament in Sweden. I feel that is a bit misleading, in the sense that there might be some people who just join in for once and then leave. So from the next Sweden review, I will also add the categories that I've seen before, like how many players and how many of the characters as well, for people who have participated in more than one tournament, or at least I will try to do it like that. So for the people who have participated in more than one tournament, I would note forever, by the way, tournament forever. Cat cam, she's going to the bathroom. I don't think you want a cat camera right now. So if someone has only attended one tournament in the entirety of January, I will exclude them for these secondary statistics. I will include both, but I think it'd be interesting to have a more than one tournament statistic. Maybe characters change, it's not just Aegis dominance everywhere. Do you have any suggestions for the next one? Any suggestions? Graphs? What kind of graphs? I'm writing here. What kind of graphs would you like to see? Most stacked tourney? But what's the metric there? Are you bobbing your leg? I am. I apologize. I will stop. Concurrent stream viewers. I apologize. For your attendee every month. That's hard. For me to do every attendee for every month, it's a bit difficult. Actually... No, it's not. I can do that. Attendee every month, I can do that. Okay, but that's not... okay, total attendees, I don't think I can do per month. And that's because of how the sheet is. So I don't think I can actually do it that way. I can do the cumulative number. I can do that. You have an algorithm that updates for every month? That is correct, more or less. You'll see in a second. Least games dropped. I don't think so. Most common matchup? Showcase of the updated algo? It's not updated, but yeah, I can show it. It's the same. Most common matchup in a single tournament. That's rough. I can... See, the thing is, I'm not overseeing tournaments. I am overseeing the stats of the tournament, so it would have to be the TOs doing this for me, and then I would be reporting this data, right? So... I'm not overseeing every tournament. I'm not there watching every stream and looking at every bracket. It's a bit difficult. Luigi Pilot. We'd have to look for brackets for it. That would take a long time. Tell you what, I'm gonna run some kind of poll in the Swedish Discord later, so you can give me more suggestions. But I do like the idea of attendees every month in a graph. I'm not promising I'll put it up. As you can see, we also had the recycled PowerPoint from last time, just with new numbers. So it's a bit difficult. But I'll try my best, I promise. Okay, and then the usual disclaimer. So I will now show you the sheet I've been making whilst collaborating with other TOs. I will drop in the Swedish Discord stream the file for each month that is offline, so you have to wait until the next month to see more. This is so that you don't get spoiled on next Sweden review. This is mostly done to avoid tampering while making the sheet restricted. I have like 3 backups, so it's fine either way, but you know. Alright. I'll change this for every month, you'll see it. Alright, so before sharing it, I'm gonna show you it.